Thank you. And thank you. Hello again, fellow basement dwellers. This is your good friend Patrick O'Dowd back after a week off of bowling poorly to bring you into another edition of Bandwagon Nerds. Bandwagon Nerds is, of course, brought to you as a part of the Chairshot Radio Network, the new and improved Chairshot Radio Network, a part of the new and improved Chairshot.com.
Almost.
No. It's always doing approved. I don't care. None of this wishy washy hand signal thing. Ray, you are the improvement. You are the instigator of the newness and improvementness. Part of the Chairshot Radio Network here on the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head.
TheChairShot.com. Always use your head.
It's like the good old days here, man. Jeez.
I know we've got sounds, we've got a full bandwagon. You've heard voices of familiar faces. You're seeing familiar faces if you're following us live. Thank you for jumping in live and enjoying our live stream. I am, of course, Patrick O'Dowd. I'm joined by my good friend, OG of all OGs, the lawyer himself, David Ungar, the commissioner, the executive vice president of Wednesday programming, and Mr. Saturday Night himself, PC Tunney, and the hardest working pastor in all of nerddom himself, the Reverend Raymond S. Cashington, Esquire. Gentlemen,
I got promoted. I'm a
I've,
pastor
I've
now.
changed your titles like the last couple of weeks I've been on the show. I did miss you all. I have a confession to make. I did not listen to a second of the show. It's the first
worries.
time since I've missed a Bandwagon Nerds where I didn't listen to the show. So I just want to say this now. Everything that Dave and Tunney said was wrong, and I'm here to correct it. So
Until we get to
I'm hoping I can.
Invincible, where I basically called the entire episode.
You absolutely did.
I mean, again, didn't listen, so it didn't happen, and that's fine.
It's fine.
So,
Steve Austin and Kevin Owens never had a fucking match at WrestleMania either, as far as I'm concerned. So
oh boy,
we can get delusional, brother.
I mean,
All right.
I wouldn't be a villain if I didn't have some delusions of grandeur. That's part of the job. I did mention I am back after being away for bowling for dollars, where, gentlemen, I got $0. And I need to talk about this for a second because everything went wrong at this tournament. And it started on Saturday. Saturday was the teams tournament. 4 bowlers, all of us coming in with 200 averages ish. So we are right on the cutoff line from Division 1 to Division 2. We're at the bottom of Division 1. So we have more handicap than a lot of the other Division 1 bowlers, where people are putting up 700 series. Because for those of you who don't know, you bowl 3 games, you tally those 3 games up, that's your team score. 3 of us with our 200 averages shot over 600 for series. So good. Unfortunately, our 4th didn't break 500. And so we finished 6th outside of the money. No Cashington there in teams. Then we get to doubles and singles the next day, where the shot was different. My partner, again, a 201 average bowler, he shot 464 for his series. Dave, you snorted. That's bad. Now I didn't do much better, but I shot like 550. And to my credit, I bowled 6 games that day. Every single game through the first 5 games, I bowled better than the game before. I just started out in a crater, and it took me a little while. Now, the benefit of being left-handed and the only left-handed bowler on the lane meant that I had a little more consistency of line and shot. But yeah, I watched that tournament. I watched people who averaged 220, 230, 240 just die on whatever that shot was. It was a tough day, not fun. I won $0. And so I'm back here penniless on the bandwagon.
Here's
So-
a quick, really quick, very similar story, but only involving a singular game on a 3-man team in which I bowled a 289. The guy behind me bowled a 275. We both had the first 9. We ended up with a team 698 because our anchor bowler, who had a 212 average, rolled a 134.
Woo! Those days happen. I will say league bowling was a little bit more fun. I in the third game needed a 9 spare strike to shoot 700 on the day. I I went 8 spare strike for a 699, which is still very nice. Very nice, but seeing the 7 just looks better. It just looks better. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We have another show where we're covering 3 shows, though this is the last episode where we'll be doing that for a hot minute because Invincible season 4 had its finale this week. We are going to talk about that, which was a lot of exposition with one big bombshell to end the season. We are going to talk about Daredevil season 2 and what I would call one of the most disappointing appearances in the series. And we will wrap it all up with our continuing conversation about The Boys as we are well into season 5 and the quest for V1. But before we get to any of that, we got to go to the trailer park and we have numbers. We have numbers available to us. Dave, I believe you have between the numbers 1 through 5?
6?
Or is it 6? 1 through 6.
I'm just gonna play one, and you guys will just.
Oh, there you
You'll
go.
love
He can pick it himself. Yeah.
Dave
you'll
is
just
going to
love it.
play.
We both have access to
a lot of us.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
We're both
feel
in as
like
hosts, so that I can assist Dave
As-
with the sound. That's it. That's all I'm here.
And yet, who is the host? Oh,
As Patrick said on Four Quarters, he's just casual around here.
I am a casual. I'm a
he's
filthy casual in
casual
the Chair Shot Radio Network. Filthy.
casual
I
villain.
show up for WrestleMania and SummerSlam. That's it.
So no Greg
Christmas and
DeMarco show
Easter
this
for
week.
you
As you
religious
let me know
folks.
on Sunday, there's no Greg DeMarco show.
You're gonna have to
this
change your name to the
There'll be a-
casual share shot
No,
villain.
I think there's a Greg DeMarco show this week. I'm intending to be.
I have
to
intentionally stockpiled a week's worth of Benchwarmers trivia podcasts, so that way,
Just
if
for
I ever
Wednesdays?
if I need to, I just throw that in there.
Well, I'm gonna pick a banjo, and so we can get to this trailer park here, and you guys are gonna love it or hate it.
Hold on,
you
we're
know.
gonna talk some more bowling. Wait a minute,
Okay.
you guys just put your headphones up, Patrick. So no, I'm kidding. Sorry.
So I have one note. Never play that again.
Who's that?
I
What-
felt like I'm in the line at Big Thunder Mountain or something.
was that your
man.
banjo? Which banjo was that?
No, banjo's
That sounded-
3.
Oh, that was
I-
3.
I-
Oh,
Yeah,
You know what
we
it
should
sounded
never
like?
play.
it sounded like Obafemi's Appalachian cousin Obadiah coming to the ring.
And yeah, I had some soggy bottom boys from Oh Brother Where Art Thou
Obadiah?
going through my head. What I did, one note, and that note is never played again. We have banned
Ray's
three.
breaking
Three
out
is-
the
Three is no
whiteboard.
longer allowed. I think Ray's on board.
Is the
with
whiteboard for
banning
when a
3.
white guy is whack?
Wiggity whack.
I just
puts
canceled
it
the
on.
whiteboard. I am winning today.
He's on. We have 5 trailers today. A little bit of everything. A lot of comedy this time around. We got some movies I wasn't expecting. Some we are expecting. The first one that we have up today is for the film Idiots, starring James Franco, and I can't remember who the other guy was that I saw in the trailer.
O'Shea Jackson
Tony-
Jr.
Yes, that would be them, who are escorting this kid to some form of like treatment or jail. Rehab. Like trying to get him to rehab. And the trailer is about a minute long, and it's just quick cuts of all the bonker shit that we are going to run into over the course of this movie. I do believe Peter Dinklage in there somewhere. I feel like I saw Peter Dinklage pop up. Like it was just a lot of crazy shit. This looks like a not super bad, maybe Pineapple Express-esque sort of film. We're just hilarity will apparently ensue. Tony, I do believe you shared this trailer with the group, so I'm going to go to you first. What drew you to Idiots, and why should we watch it?
I'm a big O'Shea Jackson Jr. fan, and Peter Dinklage too. But this is just my kind of movie. Like the fucking trailer is put together beautifully. It reminds me of like Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and movies of that nature where we're on this gigantic, Pineapple Express and Superbad are kind of like that too, where we're on this gigantic journey, but there's all these side characters that are really fucking cool along the way that are kind of like a cult classic in the making. I feel like we could be looking at here something that's not quite Tarantino-esque, but has elements of it in it. Um, it's just this movie is really sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I can't wait to see it.
Will we all grow to be better people after we watch it?
We'll laugh our asses off, probably.
Probably, yeah, somewhere in there. We'll just go. We're going to go clockwise to me, which means Ray, you are next on the rotation.
You're muted, brother.
You are muted.
You are one muted working.
This is my
brother.
favorite thing about podcasting in general. Is just it's like I'm at work. And
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my mom called me, so that's the only reason I muted myself. Did you say Tarantino or did you say Scorsese, Tony?
Tarantino-esque, some elements.
Right. It actually looks very Apatow-esque. This looks like an Apatow movie. Um, it's got a lot of the same quirks, random moments, lots of
Who is directing?
big. Yeah, it's a good question. Lots of big, crazy, funny situations. You got a straight man, and you have the really funny dude. You have a lot of their access to their personal, particular set of comedic skills. Um, we haven't had a really like d- year-defining comedy in a couple of years, so this is probably the right time for it. And Lord knows we need to laugh right now, going on with everything in the world. I don't. This isn't a movie. This isn't a movie theater movie for me, but I'll be glad to watch it when it comes on streaming. Because I mean, there are some parts that look funny, and I like Tony. I really rock with O'Shea and Dave Franco. So
Yeah, it should be a really good, fun comedy, buddy kind of comedy with some crazy shit. This is written and directed by Macon Blair. He also wrote The Monkey's Paw, I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, Small Crimes, Hold the Dark. He also wrote and directed The Toxic Avenger. So there is probably his
Mon-
connection with. Isn't Peter Dinklage in that one too?
Dinklage
yes,
is toxic.
Monkey Paws. That's the one with Dev Patel.
I got to check that, but let me just finish the list.
Because
57
Dev.
Seconds and Brothers. He wrote Brothers as well. The Monkey's
Okay,
Paw is who's in that?
Dev Patel.
No, I'm not seeing that.
There
No,
was a
you're
movie.
thinking of Monkey Man or something like that. It's a different. I know what movie you're talking about.
It is Monkey Man. You're right. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, because Monkey Man is a badass movie. If you've never seen it, watch it.
That's why I
It's really
was
good.
like, if he wrote that, okay, we know the boy can write.
Because Monkey Man, like that fucking Dev Patel just beating the shit out of people. It's kind of awesome. Dave Ungar.
Hey, I'm going to defer to my compatriots here, Mr. Tunney and the Reverend himself, as far as this one. It looks funny. I like Tunney's talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's got all those vibes to it. Pretty wild stuff. Not, I don't know. I think Tunney's right. We'll laugh our asses off. To your point, will we all be better people after watching it? Probably not. But we'll have fun sliding down the scale of humanity as we go along. So I'm here for all that.
Cool. I don't know that I am. This one actually, no, and I'll be honest. That's why I deferred rather quickly. Is it watching this? I don't know that it's for me. I just I don't know. It didn't. It looked like something I've seen before. It looks like it could be a lot of fun, but I also would like a lot of those movies that you guys just rattled off aren't really ones that like I gravitated to in terms of comedy. Uh, a group I have often gravitated to when it comes to comedy is Broken Lizard. And Broken Lizard is the comedy troupe that gave us our next trailer, which is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, a trailer for Super Troopers 3. Now, some of us have seen Super Troopers 2, and are surprised that we are getting a Super Troopers 3 because it's fine, but Tony, I think you could agree with me because I know you pointed at yourself. It's not nearly as good as Super Troopers was.
No, but it's still funny. It still
Like
made
it
me
was funny
laugh.
though.
I still like. I've seen all the Broken Lizard movies. There's a whole
Right.
bunch of them like that people
The
probably don't
Slam
even
and
know about.
Salmon is an underrated, by the way. Slam and Salmon is an underrated Broken Lizard movie where they're
What's
at
the
the
one with
restaurant.
the boot? Das Boot. That one. Remember that
Oh,
one? The drinking
that's
one.
the beer pong competition one or whatever,
Yeah.
or the beer drinking competition. I
I
know what you're talking about. That one.
I
That one
think the
has Cloris
story.
Leachman in it.
I think the story that they're telling in the trailer here is really good. To be honest with you.
Whatever,
Um.
Tokyo Drift, motherfucker.
Well,
That's all I remember from the trailer.
he's about to marry dude's sister. So they got
Farva's
that
about
whole
to marry.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
he's
wonder how
about
many
to
liters of
marry.
cola they're gonna have at the wedding.
I don't know.
No?
Ramy's gonna be pissed off. Ramathorn's gonna be upset.
I'm here for it.
I
I'll
actually
watch it.
loved this trailer. I got in trouble because I showed it to the little O'Dowd, and Mrs. O'Dowd was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "What? There's nothing. What?" And then he was like, "Why am I watching this?" I don't like because I was like, maybe we should watch Super Troopers. And then my wife was like, "Remember the Halloween costume?" I'm like, "What? It's just a man loving a bear. They just love the bear." But anyway, I this is another one. I don't know that I'll go see it in the theater by any stretch of the imagination. I might if there's like I need something to do, but I'm totally gonna watch this when it streams. Like this stupid comedy. I'm like, hey, yeah, idiots. I'm like, this one might actually be too smart for me. I need this one, and so I'm going with that. Dave, Super Troopers 3. We didn't need it, but we're gonna get it. What do you think?
Um, yeah, I like the first one, of course, I loved, and I was middle of the road on kind of the second one. I mean, it looks like it's like okay, this is fitting the mold, that sort of thing. It's right in the lane that these guys like to travel. There's some really stupid stuff in the trailer, but that's the point. And I mean, it's just
got a
it,
got a DoorDash delivery for 12 short and thick condoms.
yeah, exactly. I love that. I mean, it like you said, Pat, you summed it up perfectly. It's stupid humor, and it's going to be, one of those movies that if you think Idiots is too sophisticated for you or phosificated, as the case may be, then you can check into Super Troopers 3 and probably feel much more at home. And I'm probably going to line myself more in the Super Troopers camp, but it's familiarity, that sort of thing. But it looks fun. Yeah.
Ray,
Not for me.
Tony, Ray's banned from the show. So
No.
Hey, y'all
Wow.
old man. That it was funny in 1985
Y'all
or whenever it
old.
came out.
Well, Ray, one thing I'm gonna have to say to you is license and registration, chicken fucker.
They're laughing at home because I don't get it. I got you.
It's just a line from the first movie.
Littering,
I figured it had to be something from
littering,
it because
and
yeah.
littering,
And
smoking the Chiba.
shenanigans.
Shenanigans. If anybody says shenanigans one more time, I'm going to pistol whip.
It's great to see Captain back though. Like it is. Like after all these
Yes,
years, that
yeah.
guy's
And
still running.
Brian Cox
What
is
is
an
he?
underrated treasure.
You say
Like,
if you
he's
could
keeping that-
beat if you could beat my deputy in a foot race, I'll let you off the ticket. It's like,
you
what?
go.
Wait, what?
can we just recognize that Brian Cox is making that McDonald's money and just enjoying it? Like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Hell yeah. Let's go to some comic books, shall we, fellas? And we finally get our first look at this movie that I think on our show we've definitely questioned how it was going to work. And I still have questions, but I can't deny that our first look at the film Clayface, a body horror comic book movie, looks sufficiently dark and intriguing enough for me to want to go see it. Got a lot of the substance vibes out of the stuff that we're seeing. Although you do see a big hand made out of a mace at one point smashing somebody down. And this is another one of those interesting, we're looking at Batman's Rogues Gallery, and this is going to be another one of those questions of can a film exist in a Batman universe without Batman. Now, it can. We just had a series on HBO Max with no Batman and a Batman villain. So it can work. Uh, the special effects on this were way more terrifying than I expected them to be. And I actually, I don't know about the rest of the bandwagon, and Ray, you'll go first this time, but I do feel like this one kind of has me interested. Like I think that I wasn't sure to steal the Leonardo DiCaprio gif. Like you have my attention. I was intrigued before. Now you have my attention. And it's just a lot of. This is another trailer. It's only about a minute long with flashes of stuff. So we see a lot of flashes of imagery. We don't get a lot of story. It's a man in a hospital bed. We start to see the transformations and the struggles that are going on there, but we don't still have a complete sense of what this story is going to be other than an origin story. Ray, go.
So it's going to sound very crazy for it to be such a fantastical thing, but the graphics and the imagery actually looks practical.
Right.
And that sounds crazy for a dude who literally can turn into clay. But like they've done it so well, and made it look so well. And I hope it stays that way when the movie comes out because we already know they prop up trailers a little bit more sometimes than the actual movie is. But if it looks that way, okay. Because the two problems I had were well, three problems I had was who's gonna be antagonist? How are you gonna make a ball of clay interesting? And Basil Carlo's story is interesting if you care about the origin of it, and then how it falls in the world of Batman. And I think, and I'm gonna make this is probably gonna be a little controversial, but it just makes the most sense to me. I think the connection to all these movies of all these movies, the connection to these characters with Batman is only gonna hurt these movies because if Batman never existed and this was a Blumhouse or A24 movie, this would be one of the biggest movies of the year because of the story of Basil Carlo being an actor who was gorgeous and pretty and on the way up and got jumped and scarred up and did this experimental thing to try to fix his face and he ended up turning into clay. That's the Crow. Like it, but because we're expecting to see Batman and him be the villain or rogues gallery, I think it's gonna hurt it because I'm shocked to say I have nothing but glowing things to say about this. And I'm extremely excited for the first time about a movie I had no interest in. So good on James Gunn, good on Safran, and good on whoever the director is of this, because you got me. You right now you got me.
Dave, do they have you?
They do. This dude is texting us talking how handsome we. Oh, that's me. I'm sorry.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
so. But we are handsome.
I mean,
guys.
I've always said you had a face for radio, but that's just me. So
That's true. That is very true. I really was a bit surprised at the trailer. Like I think, like you guys were saying that. Like I think Ray brings up a really good point. There's a lot of things in here that look like practical effects rather than straight CGI. It's a lot darker of a movie than I thought it was. But Pat, you raised the big point that I have with this whole thing is that can this movie succeed in a world without Batman? I'll take it a step further. Can it succeed in a world where Batman hasn't even been cast yet?
Mm.
And I don't know. The trailer felt more like Sam Raimi to me than James Gunn or whatever that is going on that thing. So I'm really intrigued by this because I mean, DC gets a lot of shit for being too dark, that darker universe, that whole sort of thing that you hear about all the time. And do you run the risk of going in this direction where it's going to be a darker, more serious, more terrifying movie? But I almost think you got to do some of that because some of DC's characters just lend itself to that sort of storytelling. And I'm definitely interested. I want to see what they do with this. I want to see, is there any hints or ties into whatever's going to happen with Batman? But I'm like you, I'm definitely very interested in this movie.
And by the way, Dave, he's a villain and or maybe anti-hero, so the dark is expected. I think the criticism of the overt darkness is when it's heroes.
No, you're right. You're right. But I mean, that is an overriding
Well,
criticism about DC is that it's just too dark in
well,
general.
but
for
hold
sure.
up. I want to back this up a second. It's not that the DC dark and gritty argument is because of the success of Batman, which is a dark and gritty comic and is
Sure.
That too.
always a successful film franchise. And then DC turns around and has Warner Brothers for years has been like, well, Batman's DC and it's super, super successful. We need to make movies like Batman with
Sure.
other DC characters.
Right.
And then it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Right. But as
Wait,
we've
like-
said numerous times, Batman needed to go in that direction. You can't make Superman
Well,
under the
But
guise
that's-
of a
but that's-
Batman
But that's
movie.
not the. But
Yeah.
that's not the argument that I'm putting forward, Dave. What I'm saying is, yes, Batman is the streets of Gotham. It's the dark alleys. It's like he started as a detective,
The underworld.
like in the underworld, and so like Superman, red and blue suit, for crying out loud, like
hope, symbol of
not-
hope.
yes, like very different aesthetics.
Ray's
Tony,
favorite.
horror fan that you are, does a superhero horror film or a comic book horror film intrigue you in any way, even within the DC umbrella? You can at least say no for that. Yeah, if you even if it's just a no, whatever you got.
This isn't my type of movie, right?
Right.
I do have some questions though. It looks good. I think you bring up a great point about having a movie set around a villain without the main character who's their hero that's in their story. Especially since we don't even know what they're going to do with Batman. Isn't it interesting that Matt Reeves is a producer on this film as well?
Right.
Does that
Oh,
set any
that
legs
was-
off for you
that
guys?
that was the thing in place way back when the Batman came out. Like Matt Reeves was very much attached to this project, so I knew
that's interesting.
there's so much that we don't know about really how
It
the
just-
Reeves Batverse versus the
Yeah.
Guns verse fits or doesn't fit.
It just feels weird to start Batman's universe with James Gunn basically without Batman.
Right.
I will to the last point. I'm sorry, I don't mean to belabor. The
No,
one
I'm done.
interesting thing to me about that, from a positive standpoint, if he can pull it off, and that is a massive undertaking to pull it off, the world of Batman could be potentially more interesting if we know all of his rogues exist and have a relationship with them before we see him. There could be
Right.
some interesting stories told like that.
Well, because it's really interesting. Because for every Joker, the Joker film, which did incredibly well, there is a Kraven the Hunter or
Yeah,
a Madam
yeah,
Web, and there's unfortunately more of those because Sony is stupid and doesn't they really don't get it like at all when it comes to how to use a rogues gallery at all. There have been successes, and even within Reeves' universe, again, the Penguin was a very successful show that people enjoyed, and Batman isn't really a part of that show. He's on the periphery and he exists, but he's not on that show. And I think that was the other problem. Like the thing that I think does well for the Penguin is they don't pretend like Batman doesn't exist. The thing about the Spider-Man villain stuff, which is the one that we really get hung up on, is like they act like Spider-Man is just not there, like at all. It's not like none of the Venom movies are we talking about Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and so
And-
that's that's weird, and so
And the whole
think-
reason the symbiote matches with Eddie Brock is because they both hate Peter Parker.
right. So my hope is that they do like they did with the Penguin series, and that it's Batman exists, but this isn't about Batman necessarily. That's what they got to do but it's a tight rope to walk to get it to work. So we'll see. Could be great, could be terrible. Okay. Next, less of a trailer. It was a trailer, but it was also not a trailer. It was a little sort of featurette that we got. We got another look at Spider-Man or Spider Noir, not Spider-Man Noir. Spider Noir. We've known this is an Amazon series coming up starring Nicolas Cage. takes place, looks like in the 1930s, a very stylized. I think it's cool that you're going to be able to watch it in black and white or color. But this minute and a half little featurette is focused on the villains that are going to be in this. And I got to say, for this particular story, short of doing the Kingpin, Silvermane is a perfect villain for Spider-Man in a noir setting. For those of you who aren't familiar, Silvermane is depending on when you follow him, but he is a crime lord, very, very wealthy crime lord in the city of New York, has a lot of power. Spider-Man is a thorn in his side. It makes sense because Tombstone is often one of his henchmen. Tombstone is one of the villains that they talk about in here. We find out, and I think I knew this, but I didn't know this. Flint Marko, aka Sandman, is back. And in an interesting twist, a very little known, little used character who at first was like, oh, they're going with Electro. And you should know it's a character known as Megawatt, who's a very different but same. Electricity is involved, but in a different way. And an interesting character to use and one that's in no danger of being co-opted by the MCU. So I thought that was a cool way of bringing that about. And I got to say, Dave, I'm going to go to you first this time. I love Nicolas Cage. I think this is a perfect Spider-Man role. Old man, grizzled, private detective Peter Parker in the grimy streets of New York, taking on organized crime. And Brendan Gleeson as Silvermane is Brendan Gleeson is a fucking awesome actor and a terrific casting.
Ben Reilly, right? Isn't that Noir's
That's by Noir, yeah.
Oh, it's Ben Reilly, not Peter Parker. You're right.
But there's
The clone.
multiple Bens, yeah.
Yeah, Ben Reilly is famously the original clone in the Clone Saga. Dave, what do you think of this?
Hard.
The less said about the Clone Saga era of Spider-Man, the better. That was a shit time. It was very dark. It is damn near as dark as Brand New Day. But
well, we'll see what they do with that. But to your point, yeah, Mad Eye Moody in Spider-Man Noir. Let's go, because I love that guy as an actor. Everything about this, and I think we commented on it in one of the episodes you were out where we reviewed the first trailer, and I love the fact that they are giving you this option to watch it in black and white or color, because I think this is a series that lends itself to the black and white noir sort of aspect of things. But
how is everybody going to watch it?
Black and
white,
for sure. For sure.
As it should be, the way God intended.
That's right. I appreciate Amazon.
I got nothing.
I appreciate the we need to get like Black Noir's like soundboard for this studio as well, so we can do the preach or the fuck you and all that sort of stuff. But this series is going to be great. It's going to be a cool diversion from what we think about with Spider-Man, and you get to see a whole different sort of aspect of things, a different character, different method of storytelling, a hard drinking Ben Reilly with some familiar Spider-Man Rogues Gallery characters thrown in. So I'm really looking forward to this show when it comes out, because I mean, it's just, I think too many people have it in their head that Spider-Man is just this one sort of character. It's either Peter or Miles. And this is a different side of the coin that you don't really think about too often. And I love the fact that they're telling this story, because it is such a unique aspect. This Clone Saga notwithstanding, I agree with you on that point, Pat. But I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be fun. It looks like it'll be that gritty street level feel, which is where the black and white is really going to lend itself well to that. So I'm all in on this one. This looks very interesting to me.
Tony.
Looks like the release is May 27th.
Yeah, it's coming up.
We should be done with the 3 shows we have on right now by then. I don't know, just suggesting. It's got to be better than the end of Lock and Key.
Oh Oh well,
I
God.
think the coolest
We
things
were
I
actually
see
we were actually going to do a series
retrospective.
retrospective
Oh,
on
okay.
Lock and Key.
Yeah,
That's what
2
we're
week.
going to
This
do.
is my 2 week notice for Bandwagon Nerds.
I mean, Tony just puts the
You know,
bar on the floor and says,
hold
"Get
on.
over that."
Don't threaten me with a good time, Tony.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
I'm
talking about?
well aware. No, I think the coolest thing is you guys talked about Sandman and Megawatt, and watching this in black and white, they have you could see in the trailer like built-in ability to tell that story character-wise in their transformation. Like you can see Sandman, like you can see the grit, like the skin turning into sand and grit with the little gray and black in there, and then obviously with the electricity just lends itself to the black and white thing. So I think it's really cool. It'll be interesting to see if any of us go and watch certain parts in color, just to see kind of what it looks like on that, part of the cinematic scope. So totally here for it, and wish I could do a Nicolas Cage impression for you, but it would be really bad.
It'd be great if like Amazon gave you the ability to switch between black and white and color on demand. That'd be kind of cool.
Listen,
Who
they're leading the
knows?
way in streaming consumption, and Patrick and I have talked about this before.
Yeah, I would put them number one and Apple number two because of Apple's backup feature and the fact that they automatically, like if you
Caption.
back something up, they automatically do captions for you. So that because a lot of times if you're doing the 10-second backup, you're probably missing a line, which I think is a good deal. Dave, which villain are you most excited about? We haven't talked about Tombstone at all yet, which that dude,
Yeah, I mean, I think
he's awesome.
I'm most familiar with Sandman from the movies, and I kind of like Tony was saying. I love what they did with the looking at his skin changing, which really does pop more with black and white than it does in color, which is interesting. But I think Sandman's the one that I'm kind of wondering how they portray him because I don't think he's been done right yet.
Well, in the interview, they talk about him being somewhat of a tragic figure again. So it'll be interesting to see if whether they're going to hold with the story that we saw in Raimi's Spider-Man 3, where he's trying to pay for
Save
his
his
sick
daughter.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I'm not sure. Mr. Cash.
So you mentioned Tombstone, and Tombstone's one of my favorite like ancillary characters in Spider-Man. I just think he's so cool and so unique. But I also we're gonna see him with respect to whoever the actor is, a better and more physically appropriate actor in Brand New Day. So I'm more excited about seeing him there than I am here. Silvermane looks great, and so y'all know me. I say this all the time. I don't want to.
Tombstone's in Brand New Day.
He is.
Really? Huh. No,
I
keep
believe
going.
so.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because the forgive me for describing him like this, but the albino dude that's in Black Lightning is playing him.
Oh. Huh. Go ahead. Keep going. Oh.
Um, so y'all know me. I don't want to belabor the point again, but a show, especially a comic superhero esque world show, is only as good as its antagonist. And we're in the 1930s, so we're not gonna have the same type of theatricality as we do now. So it's really cool to see a guy like Silvermane, kind of almost like Peter and Kingpin, like you pointed out so perfectly, Patrick. But Dave's right, dog. See, in this world with this black and white, seeing Sandman is gonna look really really dope.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm really excited to see what he looks like. And shout out to Megawatt, Electro. Jamie did him justice on the back end, but uh it just looks good, and I'm just glad that they have actual, somewhat practical villains.
Yeah. Marvin
Mysterio
Jones
would
the
have been dope.
third, by the way, is in Brand New Day.
Yeah,
Is
so
the actor's name.
that he's the albino dude from Black Lightning. I'm sorry, but he's and a really
Marvin
good
Jones
actor.
the third.
I think Patrick touched on it before, but just to re-emphasize it towards the end of the conversation, the casting of Brendan Gleeson here is going to pay off in spades. Like he is going to carry like it this show doesn't need to be carried, but like he's going to stick out as how amazing he's about to portray this character. I'll bet dollars on that, not donuts.
I think it'll be quite good. So anyway, looking forward to that. We'll perhaps cover it on this show. We'll see where we are in a month. But this last trailer,
We'll have a 45-minute show because we don't have any shows to cover after doing
that is not true. We'll have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Damn it. You know how much stuff I keep out of the rundown right now
I know.
because
I
we're
know.
covering 3 shows. Anyway, our last trailer, we've talked about this movie more than once ever since it was dropped entirely by Warner Brothers and a strong grassroots fight to bring this movie to be picked up and put on the air and put into theaters happen. And that is the Looney Tunes Coyote versus Acme film. And we got our first full trailer for this film. And as I sat there and watched it, I literally stared at the screen and was like, I don't understand why this film was like, if this was what we saw in front of us, that you could watch that and be like, this isn't going to make money. This isn't going to do well. I was flabbergasted because I think this trailer looks terrific. And, maybe this was stuff that was done after it got picked up, but this trailer looked hilarious. This trailer looked amazing. It was everything I could have wanted out of a Looney Tunes trailer. All of the cameos, the story of the coyote trying to sue the Acme company because of all the injuries that he has sustained from their products. It's great. It's hilarious. And to have, John Cena answering the Foghorn Leghorn at the Acme Corporation. Like, come on. That is outstanding. I'm very excited for this movie. I'm very excited for this trailer. It looks terrific. Will Forte looks great. You name a character and they made an appearance somewhere, some way, somehow out of the Looney Tunes canon. It seemed like they showed up. And then, of course, we ended with Bugs Bunny surrounded in shadow as he's coming forward with his iconic line. This was a movie that Tunney was very disappointed in when it dropped and was out of the rotation and out of the schedule. It was something he was very passionate for. And so we're coming full circle to the trailer park as it is. What'd you think of finally seeing the Coyote versus Acme trailer, man?
I had no idea John Cena was in this, attached to this. I didn't. I mean, maybe I was living, on Mars in a cave under a rock with my eyes closed and my ears plugged. Yeah, I should have known. It was WrestleMania, so I'd John. Anyway, this looks great. The story looks awesome. Shout out to Warner Brothers Vault that's been releasing a ton of Looney Tunes content on their YouTube channel. Just awesome stuff. I agree. The story's awesome. I have a plan for them to, retake over the world. And it's in anything Warner Brothers major movie, you send out a short that furthers along the story for your next movie. Like they used to have cartoon shorts before movies, right? Like team up with Marvel. If you're going to throw a 3-hour and 45-minute Doomsday movie at us, please have a fucking intermission. I swear to God. Or I'm going to piss right there in a bottle, right in my fucking seat about 2.5 hours in.
You can make a lot of money for that. You know that, right?
Just show my feet while I'm doing it.
Let's move away from Tunney's OnlyFans channel. Let's stick with what
Rob gave me the idea in Discord, by the way. That's what you're getting into if you get into the Discord chat, by the way, Patrick. That's real.
Oh, good to know. Dave, save me.
I love the fact that they've turned this into a quasi courtroom drama. That as a lawyer, I mean, it appeals to me because it's like the Coyotes, like you said, suing Acme for products liability and the damages he sustained numerous times on this. Just seems like a take on this whole thing that in our modern world makes so much sense. And the fact that they're going to make light of it for, 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever it is, it looks great. I'm with you. I don't know how somebody could have looked at it and said, this isn't going to make money. because I think it's going to do really well. I mean, is it going to make doomsday money? Of course not, but it's going to do very well for itself for something that was going to be left in the scrap heap. And
I'll even say it's not. I don't think it'll make Walt Disney animated film money either at all.
No,
but a DreamWorks film.
But it'll have a good accounting for itself. I adamantly believe that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It looks great. I definitely want to check this one out because it just seems funny. Like you said, all the characters are there, and Foghorn Leghorn being bigger than John Cena is epic.
It's hilarious. Ray, if you could be in a Warner Brothers Looney Tunes film with any singular character, who would you choose to be with? Who would you want to be alongside?
Fern Gully.
Bunny.
I love
Fern. Fucking Bunny.
Fern Gully.
No, we're not talking about Fern Gully.
That's not a Warner Brothers movie, but
did we talk about the Fern Gully live action film?
We didn't get to it. We didn't get to it last week.
Here, just for you, Ray. It's happening.
The world's been waiting.
Jonah Hill.
And now we're gonna show that dastardly James Cameron how they're really supposed to be.
All right.
Okay. Hold on. Just look. So Tunney was pushing for that movie. I was the one pushing for the original that started all this shit. Give me my fucking Batgirl movie.
No, you
fuck
can't have
you,
it.
David Zaslav.
You're not getting
Batgirl's
to
not
show.
a Looney Tunes either.
Okay, who gives a fuck? It's everybody who's ever seen the Batman movie, involved with the Batman movie, worked with the Batman movie, has said it's excellent. And so, in the same breath, we can give this a second shot. But just the idea, all jokes on me aside, the idea that you can film an entire movie, you film it, you wrap it, you edit it, you post-produce it, and you do everything to it and say, nah, son, it's going in the can. This is proof positive that Warner Brothers is some idiots.
Well, but here's what's really interesting. This happens in Hollywood more than people think. This one, the Batwoman or Batgirl, what is it?
Yeah,
Batgirl in particular. You know, the people behind it and that were involved in the making and shooting of it, like there wasn't a good reason not to run with it or to drop it. And I'll buy that. Like seeing zero footage, can't speak to whether it was good or bad, and had a very passionate group of folks behind it. And the same thing with this. It just seems like Zaslav has stood oddly firm on this Batgirl film not happening, rightfully or wrongfully, and that's strange. But it does happen in other studios. It's just been such a shit show at Warner Brothers that it just amplifies what's already been a problem.
To your point,
just no good.
There's no doubt that movies get scrapped all the time. But both of these movies, I've never, and if I'm wrong, I would be the first person to admit how off I am. I have never ever heard a movie completely done, not just with the filming portion. That's easy. That's a month and a half of the post-production, the CGI. The only thing it hadn't done yet was started marketing, and they said, "No, we're not doing it." I've never heard of that before, in any studio, never. And it was 2. Y'all did that for 2 movies? That's crazy. And not just 2 movies. 2 movies with legacy media and major characters that we know. I've never heard that before.
So here's a fun thing. Wikipedia actually has a list starting as far back as 1939 of films that have been completed and never released. And at the, let's see, Charlie Chaplin. Anyway, so it does happen. I'm not saying it happens often. I'm not saying it's right. And even in this list, it's like 1939, 1954. Oh, I remember the original Finian's Rainbow that then didn't get made because of people thinking it was communist propaganda because of the blacklist era. So anyway, it's an interesting list to kind of go through at different levels. I'm actually trying to get to the end to see if Batgirl has made that list. But there's so few of them that there's literally like date ranges that are like 1971 to whatever. So it doesn't happen like all the time, late 80s. But anyway, back to the Dave, did you have a chance to comment on the film, on the trailer that we are at?
Yeah.
How do you guys,
again,
real quick, do you feel about like if they tried to create, for lack of a better term, a looniverse where they kind of connect their stories and keep you going forward and use it in different ways? I mean, they're really part of Americana if you think about it.
They are. It's interesting. There was a time when they were bigger than Disney and were every bit a part of the theater going experience as Disney shorts were in front of films. And I still don't know where that flipped.
Weren't they the mostly associated with like the Six Flags parks?
They still are.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
what's left of the Six Flags parks because they're
Right. I mean, that
Oh,
was huge in the 80s
they're
and 90s.
Six Flags parks are strong. I mean, this isn't the time for that, but they're doing quite well since the merger. I would say since the merger.
except for the six that they just sold.
well,
that are
that,
no longer.
they
Six
got
Flags
rid of
parks.
they got rid of the fluff, Pat. That's it.
Got you. Anyway, all right, let's get on. Let's move over to our our show coverage. We got a season finale to talk about. Invincible season 4. We left off the previous episode with Mark coming to the realization as Mark and Nolan are talking about where the Viltrumites could go after they literally destroyed their planet. It dawns on them that they're going to go to Earth. And so it becomes this episode where they are racing to get back to Earth. Mark cannot sleep. He's refusing to sleep. He can't rest. It takes him a couple weeks to get to Earth. Mark, like the episode opens with this like scene of the Viltrumites destroying, Thrag leading the Viltrumites and destroying, laying waste to Earth. And so when they finally arrive, Earth is fine. Earth is oddly fine. And throughout this whole episode, as we do a lot of tying up of loose ends on Earth, Mark is reunited with Eve. We learn what happened with Eve's pregnancy and how she has handled that since then, the emotional trauma and what it takes on. And I actually really appreciate they've gone with the comic accurate look of Eve moving further along. Is that she says she's let herself go, but I think we all know that it's the weight of the decisions she had to make in the trauma, and then just Mark being incredibly supportive when she comes back. She does reveal to Mark that she aborted the baby because she wasn't sure if she could handle the burden of raising a child without Mark and support, or whether he was ever even going to come back. We have more of Nolan still not understanding that dude fucked up a lot of shit on Earth and people are really not happy with him. We get a monumental decision from Mark's mother. The decision to go and look after I'm forgetting his name.
Oliver.
Fuck them kids. Oliver, who is busy recovering back in space. She has decided to do what every mother should do. You learn her relationship fell apart with nice briefcase lawyer guy. And
Paul.
I don't care. We're done with him as a story element.
No, I just wanted to clarify why I was going to have to drink again.
All right, that's fine. You would have drank even if I didn't mess up the name. Like, who are we kidding? You're going to get up and grab another one. It'll be okay.
That's true, but we'll never know.
I mean, we do know, but that's okay. But the big, and the biggest reveal out of all of this, and there are a couple of other little side things that we learn. Like Cecil is trying to open a portal to the dimension to get Monster Girl and Robot back, and that is not going well at all. Cecil and Nolan have a conversation where Cecil's like, "Get the fuck off my planet." But the big reveal at the end is as Mark, who has been continually having these post-traumatic stress visions of Thrag killing people in his life that he loves, Eve tells him to clear his head and go on a flight. And we discover that Thrag is indeed on Earth, as are all the other Viltrumites, and that they intend to rebuild the Viltrumite race by infiltrating Earth and sort of assimilating, forming relationships and rebuilding the Viltrumite race, basically through procreation. Thrag offers an ultimatum to Mark, where they won't see, hear, even know that Viltrumites are there. There will be no interference. There will be no destruction of the planet Earth. All Mark has to do is not go after him and try to find him. Mark initially says no. He agonizes it over forever. But in the end, he starts thinking of all of the loved ones in his life being killed, murder-botted by Viltrumites. And he says yes. And that ends the lion's share of the episode. We do also learn that there is a souped-up version of the Viltrumite virus that can kill them, that Alan can look after, that may or may not kill hybrids. We're not sure, but it'll definitely kill Viltrumites. And in his last message to Alan, it is again the betrayer's order or request is that he go to all his links to look up his name so you can take another drink.
It's Thaddeus. I know it. It's Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, take your drink. Yeah. But he's like, the universe will not be safe until the Viltrumites are dead. And with that, I hand the floor over to anyone who wants to take it.
Can I just, if I can, I'm just going to play that last 1 minute, the conversation between Mark and Thrag, because I think it's vitally important to talk about. So here.
You took our home, so our home is now here. Let me explain your future to you. We will live among you. Wear your clothes. Walk your streets. We will disappear within your society. Your people will never know we are here. But they will save us nonetheless, as we use them to birth our salvation. Any attempt to find us, to remove us, to thwart us, by you or the coalition of planets, will result in the death of billions and a less pleasant form of life for the survivors. Either way, we will rebuild our race. Your very existence proves this is possible. In return, I offer a truce. We will not influence, affect, aid, or endanger Earth in any way, as long as we are undisturbed. You do not have a choice, and yet you must still make one. Do you and your planet accept my terms, or do you choose annihilation for both our people?
You do not have
Apparently,
a choice.
Tunney told us so last week.
You got to give him credit, because Tunney called this whole idea. I'm sorry, Ray, I don't even mean to cut you off, but Tunney called it last week the hybridization of the races, and that he would go to Earth and that this would be the focal point of all this stuff. And that line, and I talked to Ray about it, you do not have a choice, and yet you must still make one. That is the line of the season right there. That is one of the most powerful lines in the entire series. That
Heat.
Yeah. And, you know, and I don't want to get too deep in it. I know, like, because the reason I had this clip is because on Unidentified History yesterday, there was a tie-in to Invincible that I know I told Ray about it. I could tell from Ray's reaction that it caused him pause before he responded to me, because this is one of the theories that if an agreement has been reached between humanity and whatever is out there, it may have been very analogous to this situation. You don't have a choice, and yet you must still make one. You can fight us, but we're going to annihilate everything. Both our races will die. It is a hugely powerful moment in the series. And just the episode was so great because of all the head fakes, the entire episode. And you knew at the end, you knew Thrag was going to be there at the end. And how was it going to go down? But Mark's visions, and Pat, you summed it up perfectly. PTSD, absolutely. He's got post-traumatic stress disorder. And you just see all these visions. And then when it actually happens, and it's like, is this real? Is this another hallucination? And Mark realizing, that whole, watching that thought process he goes through, and that scene of Eve at the end just smiling at him, and that's what gets him to crumble. Now Mark cuts this deal, but does he have the authority to make this deal for the planet as a whole? Probably not. And that may be a big point of season 5. But I love the way this episode ended, and it was awesome.
It actually doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks. It's what Thrag thinks.
Well, I mean, the thing is, honestly, if Mark keeps a secret, no one's going to know about this conversation except him and Thrag.
Right. Go ahead, Ray.
They have no choice, but they had to make one anyway. Like literally, they could sneeze and destroy the world in 5 seconds. So like literally, Cecil, the president, nope, it doesn't matter. They don't. And what I like about Thrag is, for as vicious and dangerous and like as much of a badass and as dope as his hairline is, shout out to the boy getting that fade every 2 days.
He's got the lineup.
He is genuinely diplomatic. He tried to talk Nolan down like multiple times. And I think he has come throughout all of this to respect Mark enough to say, I'm going to talk to you. There's no decision you have to make, but because you've earned my respect and because you're the first person who we've actually, on our quest to rebuild Viltrum after the first Scourge, you're the first person that has hybridized perfectly with exactly how we are. So you have my respect. I'm going to talk to you. Boy, what a cold line. And also, what I love about it the most is in the comic, apparently, that conversation happened early. The way they flipped it, like you said, Dave, to have all the head fakes and all the PTSD, and you just get more and more anxious with him, knowing something's about to happen and worried something's happening. And every time a head fake happens, is it real? You don't know, because Thrag is that fast and that bad. And just all that. So that by the time Mark gets to the point where he just starts attacking him and Thrag pushes him off, you are feeling everything Mark is feeling. To the point where when he makes that decision, you're almost like, yeah, bro, I get it. It's such a great, great episode. Go ahead.
Well, for those of you that listen every week, you already know. No, man, here's when I realized it. When he let Mark live, he had him dead to rights at the end of episode 7, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he just realized that he can restart his race, like, because they got problems, but now can they not only just restart their race, they can restart their race with more diversity to it, maybe even make it stronger. It's gonna be such a great season next year. Watching Mark keep the secret, who could he potentially share it with? Who may figure it out on Earth that these people are walking among us? Like, it just got a lot more street level. We were so galactic this whole season for the most part, and now we're going back to Earth, Patrick. Now we're going back. Here's one thing I noticed, and maybe I'm wrong, but obviously I noticed the difference in shit. You guys are gonna have to drink. What's his girlfriend's name?
Eve.
God damn it! Why am I forgetting Eve? I noticed the difference in Eve's figure, but
yeah,
when Mark had the flashback about, like, after coming back and then having to make the decision, thinking about everybody, eventually Eve popped into his brain while he's thinking about all that, and to me, she looked like the old version of Eve, like as if to say Mark will always see her as the girl he fell in love with, no matter how she looks.
Oh, to that point though, and that's a great point. But also, Mark has only seen her like that for a day.
Well,
by that point, Mark had only been home for a day.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, you still know.
No. I mean, I'm not saying your point is wrong. I'm just giving Mark a little credit to be more of a open-minded dude, because the way he responded to Eve's news was about as caring as you can expect someone to respond in that moment. Although he did kind of do a little make himself the victim in that situation, but nonetheless, and you understand why, obviously. Um, but dog, just the way, and actually, you mentioned next semester. Dave disagrees with me here, but I think this gives credence
I don't
and
know if I
reasoning.
disagree with you, Ray. But go ahead. Go
This
ahead.
gives I think this gives credence and reasoning to that god awful hell episode, because that episode
Yep.
ends with them saying, "Hey, maybe we'll come up and we'll take this world." And now we have no big bad because we're not gonna see no Viltrumite fight next year, next season, probably not of any note. But if the world that they're trying to infiltrate is usurped by all the Hellions and demons, hey man, Steve Harvey might have to come back to work.
Well, like they had said that they would, the pledge that they made to Mark was that they wouldn't get involved, right? They wouldn't interfere. But if the world is overrun by these demons, that is going to be putting them
That's what I'm
their
saying.
whole hybridization program at risk. Maybe they have to get involved.
Well, you'd think that's who Mark would be working with then. Now would be next year on the low, and they are trying to both hide from each other, right?
Speaking of Mark, bet money he fall in line with Cecil.
Yeah.
He realizes why Cecil is who he is now.
Oh, you want to
And
bet some
all
more money on something else?
go ahead.
Mr. and Mrs. Grayson be fucking again on
Yeah, I was just going
out
to
in
say
space. It ain't long.
So
them
again,
watching them kind of fall in love again with each other is going to be an interesting ride.
well, and I'm glad they're doing it this way because again, in the comics, and I love when you deviate just enough for the story to make sense from the comic. But in the comic, she eventually went back right back to him. And so the
Right.
way she's handled this, and to submit her power and dominion, if you will, and it was explained so well. Like when Paul explained to her, it's like, look, you run all the superheroes, but everybody listen to you. Like you might handle powers, but you run this thing. Like give yourself some credit.
Yeah, there's a lot that they could do in our next season. There's plenty to go. Speaking of the comics, it'll be interesting to see if this Viltrumite infiltration slash assimilation slash integration goes in the direction of the comics as well. Because that I won't spoil it, but you'd be surprised. It might not be what you think. Anyway,
Oh, and still no robot and
we're in
muscle.
another dimension still. Yeah, I mentioned that. They tried twice and it failed.
Mm-hmm.
We only see the second failure where giant tentacles, a la Lord of the Rings, start fucking shit up.
Purple ooze.
Yes, it was not pretty. So, all right, we're gonna head into our commercial break. We got to take our first commercial break. We have gone a good hour plus here talking trailers and Invincible. When we come back, we're gonna talk about Daredevil Born Again and The Boys. Both great episodes as well. So stick around for that. You are listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com.
Should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Welcome back, everyone, to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, a part of the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. David Ungar, PC Tunney, Ray Cash, Patrick Godowd, giving you all the best from the nerdosphere. If you like what we do, head over to prowrestlingtees.com/the chair shot for all of your chair shot swag needs. Guys, I had an interesting thought now that we live stream. I enjoy the sweet, sweet, soothing tone of Christopher Platt's voice as he does our commercial. But wouldn't it be banger if we could convince Platt to do a filmed commercial that takes our faces away during the commercial break so that you see a chairshot.com commercial before it comes back to us instead of us sort of staring at each other. I'm just spitballing this.
I would imagine
live
that.
studio audience.
I would imagine that, like, instantaneously, Tunney's brain started working and is going to pitch something to Ray on the air, because I think, Ray is the creative genius that we've been able to utilize. Wouldn't it be great if a version of Plaid existed where the version of Retainer Boy exists, and they would do a chair shot commercial together on Bandwagon Nerds? Just throwing my overall creativity at you.
This sounds like another blatant attempt to get Patrick O'Dowd to do something outside of his scheduled shows. What is this?
Well, it's something we could record in 30 seconds in between Four Corners and Bandwagon Nerds.
We could, but we can't even get Four Corners to start on time. So,
we're working on it.
As the great modern philosopher Rob
What's this wee shit? You got a friend in your pocket?
You.
Oh,
I
blame
never
the lawyer.
drop Patrick.
I know you all. I'm just a simple caveman who skips 4 hours of his afternoon.
I challenge any set of 4 or more friends to schedule a time to talk to each other for multiple hours every week and not get sick of each other, because DP and I have done it for 10 years. The 4 of us have done it for 338 weeks in a row. So that is
that what it is now?
Me saying we're awesome, and Patrick and Dave have created a monster here.
I don't know about you, Pat. I'll take credit for some of that, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, not bad for a conversation about Avengers Endgame or Infinity War. Infinity War, my bad.
No, it was Endgame, I think.
Was it
Endgame?
No, it was definitely no, it was Infinity War, because it was all about the dusting.
Because of Dave, you get to watch us live, and because of Ray, you get to see all these cool graphics and shit behind us and the website and stuff. So we're turning and burning.
We're doing a lot. Speaking of Marvel, Daredevil, Born Again. Last week, Vanessa died. That wasn't good.
No.
Kingpin handled that about as well as you would expect him to. That poor surgeon, he's just trying to be nice.
Don't be hugging people.
Oh, you know what? He was like, "Can I have a hug?" And he got a hug. He got a big hug. That is exactly how that went for that poor surgeon. And then I just love that the cleanup man is right there, just standing at the door, ready to walk on it, as it should be. And so this is the aftermath episode, really. So you thought the episode before was going to be the aftermath episode, but we get this very beautiful, poignant, reflective episode where, it's very much about Kingpin's relationship with Vanessa and what she means to her. And in my opinion, we get our best look yet at what is driving Matt in the way that he is approaching his vigilantism, and that he's doing it all for Foggy, and that it's in his mind, what would Foggy think if I did this way versus this way, and not wanting to disappoint that memory. And I think for me, it comes to full fruition when you see his decision to keep Bullseye alive when Karen really wants to blow his head off. And they finally have that blow up that Ray's been talking about for a few episodes now, where she's done like going along the way that Matt wants to go along. But Matt can't do it because Matt knows Foggy wouldn't want Bullseye to be killed. Like, at the end of the day, that is Matt's thought process. And you get that episode before to see that. Like, that's why he keeps thinking back to the things that Foggy would do to try and see the best and the good in folks and give them chances. That's where Matt is. And that's why Matt, in my opinion, can't kill or can't do it and doesn't want to do it. We also finally, BB, she's been playing with fire. And that finally blew up in a heartbreaking way, by the way. Young Mr. Gandolfini, by the way, has really grown on me as an actor over the course of this season in particular, as he wrestles with this man who desperately wants to be important to Wilson Fisk and to that operation, but at the same time, clearly loves BB. I'm not saying his name. What? I don't care. You don't owe me.
You don't know his name, do you?
I don't.
Yeah,
It's
Dave.
Daniel.
Daniel.
Yeah, Dave.
It's
It's
don't-
Daniel because it showed up.
I don't even know how to do what you're doing yet, Tony. You got to teach me.
It's fine. I don't care. That I don't remember the name. He's whatever. He's gonna die anyway. It's gonna be fine. Dead. He's dead at some point. We do things. We do see things really coming to a head with the protesters against the Fisk regime. We see our good friend Mr. Charles getting really pissed off that his weapons are missing, and offering the governor an opportunity to fully divest herself away from having to work with Mr. Fisk. And of course, we see Karen in the thick of it all at the end, getting captured, all while Wilson and Matt have another throwdown in a fun battle in that basement where we destroy Vanessa's painting.
I mean, she dead. Don't matter no more.
Well, yes, and it just makes the Kingpin all the more dangerous. I love it.
So Tony does victory lap for Invincible. Can I do my quick victory lap? On one, I was right about Karen sick of Matt shit, which caused her to get her dumb ass caught. And secondly, most importantly, I told y'all BB was into oh boy. It may be begrudgingly, but she's into Daniel. Because she had every chance to get, and she didn't know about Buck yet. She was so damn aloof. Thank you, sir. She's so damn aloof and so in her own mind, she couldn't see that the assassin of all assassins over here is ready and willing to slit your throat. And yet, it was the power of love, word to the '80s ballad, that saved her life.
You really just quote Huey Lewis in the news,
Yeah.
dude.
But it saved her life,
Love
my
you,
dog.
Lewis.
Tell me it didn't save her life.
Oh, wait, is that Huey Lewis in the news?
It's the power
The
of
power
love.
of love? Yeah, definitely.
Well, because
There's
there's
a few
also
songs-
there's the
Yeah.
Peter Cetera like Karate Kid 2. Was it Glory of Love or some shit like that? Like I don't know.
Yes, glory of love. That's right.
Right. There's too much, and we don't do musical chairs anymore, so I can't keep
No.
up on my old retro.
Don't need
music.
money.
We don't do
don't need
musical
fame.
chairs
Don't
right
need no
now.
credit card to ride this train.
Musical
Oh,
chairs
right.
have been done right now, but it is still a listed podcast on thechairshot.com.
It was a good podcast. I was glad I did it.
Hmm?
But anyway, neither here nor there. We also used to do a show called the 5x5.
Also a listed show on
Listed
thechairshot.com. Question for the group. Can I ask a question for the group as we get back to Daredevil?
Be expecting an episode of each next week.
Right? This was a very expository, that's not a word, but you know what I'm trying to say, episode, because we really kind of moved the exposition forward in a lot of ways. So Karen sick of Matt's shit and made her come out of hiding because of the opportunity for the thing they did at Vanessa's vigil. Matt really got a chance to play his whole I'm sorry, Foggy, I'm doing it for you, my boy type shit, and got into the fight with Kingpin and let him make it because he could have handled him then, wouldn't do it.
And wouldn't arrest him.
And wouldn't arrest him, just left him there. BB played the game a little too close and then finally made her decision. And then Daniel had to basically tell her, yeah, I knew what you was doing. You fucked me. He wants to kill you. But I think the most interesting for next episode is crazy ATF guy finally caught on to little old boy who gave Daredevil the card and then shoots old boy to cause the riot with the other dudes, homeboy who got burned, realizing and seeing like, wait a minute, leading into him catching Karen.
Right.
Old boy about to be a problem.
Did you hear what he said though when he turned around to the other guy who got burned? He's like, "Damn vigilante's got him."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the other thing. And all of this, and we also got Kristen Ritter's return as Jessica Jones at the top of the episode where they raid the warehouse.
About that. Yeah.
Which the most impactful thing of that whole sequence was the introduction of Danielle, who is the child of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. That we just everybody knows. Like, this was my disappointment. Is like the way that she was introduced. It was very much one of those we're just going to acknowledge she was always there. They hooked up back at the Netflix series back in the day, and one would assume that they hooked up afterwards in some way, shape, or form. If they indeed continue with comic continuity and is Luke's daughter.
Isn't that what you guys want though? Like I'd never watched the other old series, right? So isn't that what you guys wanted to have happen?
Right, but in the Netflix series, in the Netflix series that happened, like they hooked up like one time.
Well, that's all it takes. Trust me.
But this kid is like 8, dog. This is a long time ago.
Right. And that was the other thing is like, did they have this kid in secret? Does Luke know what happened? Because like they did a lot of shit after she and Luke Cage hooked up in Luke Cage season 1, and she sure wasn't talking about children or carried anything around, or there was no babies. So it's interesting what we've picked and chosen or how it's gone.
Well, the theme right now, if you go back to Invincible, is that superhero women don't like to talk to their superhero man when they get pregnated.
That's fair. But Matt knew. Matt knew. He was like, "How's she doing?"
How about the interesting part about this, where she says her powers have been wonky ever since she had the baby.
When she's around her.
Same with Eve.
Well, and to your point, Ray, there's that big fight in the warehouse where she punches ATF guy in the face and hurts her hand. Like, did her powers fail, or is there something more to this guy that we don't know about?
Dave.
We don't know.
Don't know.
I'll give you the imaginary ding. Ding.
Well, Tony can give me the real one.
Working on it.
Whoa! You don't want Tony's ding, man. What the hell?
Well,
this is an almost family program. Like, come on now. Actually, that's kidding. We're not for families at all. Small children should absolutely not listen to this podcast.
To your guys' point about Jessica, she does not share Matt's.
Patrick just has his fucking small child star on it once in a while.
He's 14 now. He's not small.
Well, he wasn't when he first came on the show.
But wait, we were like I try to be less racist when he's on the show.
Wow. Wow.
And sexist.
And we thank you for that, Patrick.
Yeah.
I try. Hey, I'm not racist. I have black friends.
Oh, well, yeah.
we got one on the show right now. What I'm wondering is like Jessica does not share Matt's no-kill philosophy. Yeah, there we go. And I wonder if that's going to be a conflict between them at some point later on as we go along. But
it has to be.
Right. Well, we only got 2 episodes of this half of the season left?
No, I think it's 10 episodes for Daredevil season 2.
Is it?
I think so. Pretty sure
they cut it down pretty heavy. It was supposed to be 18, but they cut it down.
Well, we had how many in the first season?
This is like episode 7, right? This is like episode 6 or 7.
Episode 6 is coming up. This was 5. 6 is coming up.
This is only 5? We've only watched 5 of these?
Well, dude, we've been covering 3 shows. It feels like we're watching 15 episodes a week.
Really?
That's on me. This was a bad idea. I'll admit it. But we needed to do it.
But that's fine. Patrick knows best. Hashtag Patrick knows best. But no.
Put that one up, Tony.
No.
Is it really we've really only watched 5 of these?
It's only 5 so far. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No, because next week is episode 7.
Or
next week is episode
6.
2, season 2, episode 7. We're at 6.
Okay.
Still, but remember, it's because they debuted with 2. Remember the first week of dropping the Daredevil, they dropped 2 episodes.
The second week was when they did 2 and 3, right? They did
anyway,
it doesn't matter.
At some point, there was a day where 2 episodes dropped. We are way too in the weeds about episode count. As it is, it's all this was all just a big cliff to lead to next week. The Kingpin is not going to take this lion down. Like, he is now backed into a corner and fighting for his life. His miniature army. He's going to love having Karen Page as leverage. They will keep quiet about it, but because that's the other thing is Karen Page has been missing. The only person who knows that Karen Page was out there, other than the 2 people that were with her, and one is not doing so great, is Kingpin's own right hand, his general, right? Like, that guy's going to keep it quiet. They're going to put her somewhere quiet and leverage that on Matt. So I have not yet watched the trailer for next week's show, but I do think I've seen some stills where it looks like a lot's going down.
8 episodes.
So we only got 2 episodes left.
God damn, bro. Everything.
So we
is
can
eight
cover
now.
Spider Noir.
Tony's already
The boy
making.
pitching. The boy pitching, man.
I'm just pitching. I'll shut up.
boy
Sorry,
pitching.
Patrick. Sorry. I
I
acknowledge you.
I
Patrick,
don't-
I acknowledge you.
I don't need you getting in the way of our lock and key retrospective.
No.
our very
fuck.
our very special.
I'm
Lock and
unacknowledging
Key
you.
retrospective. We're also going to rewatch the latest season of The Witcher. Just double
Yes.
them up for episodes.
Liam Hemsworth
Followed-
for the win.
Followed
You
by a
want- how
live
about-
Twitch stream of all of us watching Flash Gordon with Ray, so
Yeah,
he can
fuck
regale
you,
us with
Ray.
their
Take
favorite
that,
parts.
you son of a biscuit.
I've watched Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
I
not
like
with us.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
Shout out to Ming the Barbarian.
Ming the Barbarian.
Better known as Haku.
Okay, you know what? Let's just go to The Boys. The Boys, where I love a good old fashioned episode. Where this is a very tropey episode in comic book and sci-fi sort of films and fantasy, where there's some sort of element that strips away the facades and what people are keeping bottled up and in, and they just spill their guts. And that's what we have here as the crew, sans Starlight, who has flown off at the end of the previous episode, and we learn where she finds her father and his family, played by the guy who's in Wings.
I was
one of
gonna
the-
say,
one of the two
I
guys
was
in
gonna
Wings.
jump in subtly and say, go
Ted
to find her
Danson?
wings. It's Tim Daly. It's Tim Daly.
Tim
That was
Daly. I was like, I knew it was one of the two
Oh.
main guys, but I couldn't remember his name.
one of my favorite sitcoms ever. Sorry, Patrick.
It's where Tony Shalhoub got a start on Wings, man.
And Lowell was what's his name? God damn it! You guys know who he is. He was in Sideways with Paul Giamatti.
Oh, yes, Thomas Hayden Church,
Yes, he was the mechanic.
the original
Tommy
Flint
Church?
Marko.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it Sandman?
We're just bringing it all together. So the crew is regrouping after this last episode. They have a location where they think V1 could still be available for the picking. And after a brief debate over whether or not, or how long it would take for Frenchie to resynthesize the virus and get it to a point where they could use it again, and he says something to the effect of like 5 or 6 weeks or something like that. Like it was some like obscene amount of time. Huey's like, look, looks like we're going to this camp and we're going to go try to find this V1 here. And so they head to this location and things start to show themselves as being a little off when Huey's asked about Starlight, and he basically is like, she could be a real bitch sometimes. And he's just like really angry about it. And then Frenchie is casting a sidelong gaze at Kumiko when she hugs Huey at one point, like, what's that all about? And everybody's just getting sort of chippy with each other. And it's not until they get a little bit further in and they start to see these like tendrils of a plant-like substance a little more frequently. There's bodies everywhere when they walk through this, by the way. And they think that there's some sort of creature that is attacking and killing these things. That they Frenchie figures out that like Fort Harmony is the name of the place, but that where Frenchie figures out that this plant or whatever it is doing something to all of them that is making them angry and saying terrible things to each other, and that it is basically doing it to encourage them to be violent so that they can be consumed by this creature or plant. That the plant can feed off their carcasses after they're dead. Meanwhile, Homelander and Soldier Boy also after Homelander talks to again, help me with her name, Firecracker, not Sister
Oh yeah,
Sage.
yeah. No,
Where-
Homeland talks to
Because
her. and-
Homelander's like, I'm a god. I had a vision.
You smell like Soldier Boy.
He smell like Soldier Boy. She pretends like they didn't just fuck like crazy. Speaking of other disturbing things, when we get to that bedroom, you know which bedroom I'm talking about.
Ashley and back Ashley. So yeah, that's
Ashley and back Ashley. And what is David's character's name?
I think his actual name is Our Father.
Or Oh Father, Our Father. Yeah,
Oh,
like
Father,
something.
like
Yeah.
that.
because of his vocal talents. The sex is so good. He shouts out the ball gag and puts a big hole in the wall. But anyway, Homelander wants to use Firecracker to be like, I'm going to be. Wow, that's messed up.
Dave, what the fuck, man? I just taught you how to use that.
It's
Yeah.
not that. Yeah.
But Homelander now wants to be. He is going to achieve godhood, and he is using he wants Firecracker to use her platform to promote him as God. And after freaking Firecracker the fuck out, he then knows that he has to go and see if they can track down this V1 over at this fort. Has a brief conversation to get Soldier Boy to go along with him. They go on foot. They are arriving to, I already forgot the name of Fort What's Its Nuts.
Harmony.
Fort Harmony.
Fort Harmony. They arrive shortly thereafter.
I like What's Its Nuts better.
Fort What's Its Nuts. They arrive shortly after the boys' crew gets there as well. They too start fighting amongst each other, which is funny because Homelander basically just like placated Soldier Boy by being like, I look up to you and you're my dad, and then like that all falls apart. Soldier Boy throwing him into a uranium chamber, and watching that slow deterioration was fascinating. But we get a little bit more of Soldier Boy's backstory, which is really, really important when it comes down to who we discover is actually the cause of this strange plant. By the way, love the nod to Last of Us, and what was the other movie that they shouted out, or series? Am I missing this? They definitely shout out Last of Us, and Frenchie's like, no, that's just it's like Walking Dead. Like they basically
he said Walking Dead with mushrooms. I thought that was just
Yeah, it was
shitty,
great
just
shit.
a cheap shot.
That
It's
was a
like,
great shot. I thought it was fucking hilarious and beautiful. But anyway, so a lot of this goes on. We learn, Butcher is not shy about talking about his intentions. Mother's Milk is right on board. Huey is devastated by this because he wants to, synthesize an immunity that allows the kind of quote unquote good superheroes to continue to live. Kumiko goes off on Frenchie about his overprotectiveness and what he wants versus what she wants, like to the point where everybody is fighting amongst themselves until Frenchie convinces Frenchie, who discovers this source and brings Soldier Boy to it, because the guy's name it's like his dad or his brother.
Quaid, was that his name? Quaid,
it was his brother, because the whole thing has been that his brother, that Soldier Boy's brother, was actually the real like good soldier, and Soldier Boy was the coward.
He was a military hero, and Soldier Boy was just a rich, snotty kid that got that whined and cried when he actually got the V1.
And then when he got the V1 and became who he was, he put on this different persona, and it then leads, Frenchie pushes him to the point to destroy his brother, who's been feeding off of people in this weird vine possession sort of way. And that then eventually like leads to the aftermath of Homelander eventually getting out. He has a confrontation with Butcher, but when he learns that the V1 isn't there, he just leaves. They don't fight each other. The boys on their way back in a funny little interlude while driving, playing, was it Mambo number 9? I want to say was what pops
in Monica in
5.
my life.
You're right, 5. I don't know. I'm 47. I didn't listen to that music.
It'll be one shot in your side.
But they get back to their base, and it leads to Huey actually reaffirming, and Starlight, we'll get to, and you guys can talk about Starlight and her little side arc, but they come back together and are actually tighter than ever. But Kumiko and Frenchie are parting ways. They're no longer together. And actually Mother's Milk and Homelander, they look at each other afterwards and they're like, I don't regret a fucking thing I said. I meant every word of it, but we're cool. And then they go right back to trying to figure out how to find V1. And then Starlight basically lives out that scene in X-Men 2 where Iceman's brother calls the cops on her.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I got.
Who wants to go? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I thought it was it was a little bit of a different episode. We didn't even I don't think we mentioned, Ryan does recover at the beginning and just takes off, just leaves Butcher behind and goes off
I'm
and does
not
his own thing.
dead.
Do you think he went to
Yeah,
find what Zoe is it? Is a daughter?
probably because he's got a thing for Zoe, and that sort of thing.
They
But
got a thing for each other.
But yeah, well, that's true. But yeah, the stuff with Homelander and Soldier Boy, and it's funny to me that the only time that Homelander has the balls to confront Soldier Boy is when they're infected with this hate virus, that sort of thing. I mean, it's not like the rage virus from 28 Days Later, but there's a hate thing going on, and it just brings out the worst in everybody. But yeah, that's the except Soldier Boy's kind of immune to the whole thing because he's got the V1 in his system. But it was a good episode. It was a little change of pace sort of situation, but the quest for V1 continues. I love Noir calling the Deep out on his bullshit, and that was all fun, especially when they go on the live broadcast and he's like, "Fuck you, bitch," and all this
The
stuff.
Deep isn't the guy who plays the Deep is in Idiots, by the way. If we forgot to mention that.
I saw that. Or
Oh,
is it
I
Idiots or
totally
Super
forgot about that.
Troopers?
That was my disappointment, by the way.
Super Troopers, you're right, Dave. My bad.
Right.
Yeah.
My big disappointment, by the way, is that Black Noir is still being played by an actor and not the Homelander clone.
Oh yeah, we got that reveal this week too, right?
Yeah,
we did.
But I mean, like you were saying, at the end, where Homelander escapes, finally gets out of the uranium chamber, and he lights up the lasers, and he's going to try and attack his father, which is going to be pointless. And then he just says, "Are you crying?" And so the Soldier Boy is an emotional wreck in certain places and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's an interesting episode to be sure. This whole aspect of Homelander being this godlike persona that they're going to foist upon America, even though
the
he's
board
only got a
meeting where they're trying to figure out how to sell it is a good one.
Yeah,
is a good
only 22% of the people are going to accept this. Let's roll with it anyway. I mean, that sounds like a real world sort of analysis to me, but it is a good episode, but it does get interesting as to where they go from here. Yeah, the stuff with Starlight and her dad and the explanation as to why he left. And, that's all kind of important. And at the end, they kind of, the Democratic Church of America, indeed. But I,
got one H, my bad.
Go ahead, Tony, take over from here.
No, I'm good. I was going to let Ray go ahead and jump in there.
Go ahead, Ray, you jump in then.
Well, Patrick, there's one thing you missed, I think that is ultra important, and that's the whole reason Soldier Boy even decides to go with Homelander is because Sage tricks him.
Oh, yeah.
Realizing that if he gets the V1, he's not going to be untouchable, and clearly, even the Seven, particularly Soldier Boy, doesn't want him to have the V1. So I think that's very important, a very important part of the story, personally. Yeah, it's ironic. Shout out to Frenchie. Everybody deserves their episode, and this is Frenchie's episode. And the irony that him being the most debaucherous of the bunch is what gave him his herd immunity will forever be hilarious.
Right.
But we're continuing to see more and more issues between him and Kimiko, even through the whatever. Because last episode it was she wanted kids, and he's like, "Fuck that." And now it's like I don't know if I could trust this because I don't want to lose you. And so there's a lot going on between those groups. Also, Butcher and MM have been together so long that they accept each other just like a married couple. Throughout all they good and throughout all they bad, they accept each other. And for all of Butcher's faults as a character and as a person, the one thing you cannot fault him for is he knows who he is. He is not delusional about anything about himself. He knows he is a horrible, god-awful person. And I appreciate that about him, which is why I think he's still likable, because of the fact that he knows who he is. It was dope to see Homelander finally, for once, on his heels. But it is interesting, like you said, that he let I don't know if he could have killed him, but he killed Stormlander. So Stormfront. So maybe it's interesting that he let Soldier Boy make it. And I wonder if it's because he finally felt connected to him in a way, seeing Soldier Boy crying. And maybe it was connection, maybe it was pity, but something caused him to let him make it. But no, great episode. Ryan, I don't know what the fuck Ryan's gonna do. Don't really care about that either way. honestly.
Fuck them kids.
Yes.
Wow.
The Starlight situation is interesting because, and this isn't fair, but this is what it is. Erin Moriarty is dealing with Graves' disease really, really badly. And so
Right.
there's we're not gonna see her in a lot of things the way we probably would have years prior because of that. And she talked about how this was the absolute hardest episode she had to shoot because she was in so much pain. And so it makes sense when you see her in this episode and she still kills it. I mean, if you walked, if any woman walking into her little brother that she didn't know existed going into her, it's not a fun conversation to have. But also, it was so weird that she just kind of just caught ghosts at the end of the last episode to hear. And it makes sense for her to come back because she was missing a part of her. And we all talked about how depressed and ready for it to be over. And at last episode, she was. But we're not going to. Starlight is so integral to the story. Um, and I'm very curious to see how we do these last few episodes with the announcement that Jim V is canceled because we have not still seen Marie Moreau or any of those groups, the Godolphin kids, whatever. And it's ironic because the whole point of Gen V was built around the idea that Marie Moreau was the one built to take out Homelander. And all we've had is just a mention of her. So I'm curious to see where we go with that. But they need her to probably pop up now so that Aaron can kind of take a step back and be more conversational and not have to do the stunts.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like again, I don't remember how many episodes are in this season too, but
8.
like this is it.
This one's 8.
So this is the halfway point for our final season here as well. And there's still a lot of threads to work out. Tony, anything to add to this edition of The Boys?
At some point, Homelander had brought up Julius Caesar in this season. And Sage was like, that ended in A2, Brute, by the way. So I had thrown out the idea that maybe Homelander ends up we don't need a positive ending for this story, but I think it's one by one, stab by stab, as we get to the end of this season, Homelander gets taken down. What happens at the end, I don't know if it's necessarily positive, but I do think Homelander gets defeated.
Yeah, I think he'll be betrayed by somebody within his circle. Like that's not an accidental reference. So we'll have to, like I said, we got a second half to go, and we'll be here to cover it, and maybe Spider Noir at the same time, along with the Lock and Key retrospective. So all of that coming out soon. But we're going to take our second and final commercial break right now. When we come back, one pretty significant piece of news around the nerdosphere that I think is pretty important to talk about, and that's with our good friends over at Disney and specifically the MCU. So stick around for that. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com. And there will be no commercial for those of you watching live. It'll be edited in post. But we all stared at you for a second.
I
How
want to
fun!
do it.
I love. What's that?
Want to do it live? Why did you come to the chair shot?
Right. So like,
You know what?
I only have the Platt commercial in here. I don't have the Kinney one.
I thought you had both. Anyway, that's okay. We're back. Patrick O'Dowd, Ray Cash, David Elgar, PC Tutty, talking bandwagon nerdy shit here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com. We remind you to always use your head. Make sure you head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/the Chairshot. You can get a shirt with the logo behind Dave's head. That is there. That can happen for you. ProWrestlingTees.com/the Chairshot. All right. Before we head out today, the last thing I wanted to talk about, news story that is actually it's going to be a hodgepodge of Marvel news, because a couple of these news bits are from a few weeks ago. One I shared this week in our group chat. It has been announced that the MCU will be returning to San Diego Comic-Con, as I would assume Saturday night in Hall H, as they've done every time that they've been there. The last time they were there, it was the big Robert Downey Jr. revelation that he was going to be Doom for Avengers Doomsday. We also got news that prior to Doomsday being released, Endgame is being put back into theaters, not just in your standard theater format. It is being put in a new ish, new to us. That's how I'm going to say that. A new to us theater format created by Disney called what? Infinivision or something like that? Infinity Vision. Uh, I shared this before. This is actually not a new format that Disney's just throwing out of nowhere. It's just new to theaters that they've had in their back pocket to put to theaters, and they brought it out frankly because IMAX wasn't playing nice, or in their opinion wasn't playing nice because IMAX went with Dune, but Dune got it first, so it's not like anybody's a bad guy here.
They also
I need
own
people
part
to
of the
understand that.
company. They own part of
Right.
the company, so that's another reason.
Back pocket again, they've had it, so they it's easy enough to do, but theaters have to meet a certain spec in order to play Infinity War and then Doomsday. So it's their way of just leveraging theaters, because that's the other thing that studios do is they leverage theaters to get their shit put on as many screens as possible, or to have some exclusivity. The thing that we also learned though out of this re-release that has come from the Russo brothers and some other folks is that this run, and the dogs are very excited about this. There will be added footage to Endgame in the form of both deleted scenes, and it sounds like some new scenes that will help connect Endgame to Doomsday, which doesn't really surprise me because Doom was a pivot. And we've known it was a pivot ever since everything happened with Jonathan Majors all those years ago. And that guy is persona non grata in the MCU. And so they're like, we're gonna go, we're gonna pivot to Doom, but they have to do things to make it make sense. And so, and they want people to go see Endgame. And if you're gonna need a reason to go see Endgame again in the theaters, hey, new footage and footage that's important for Doomsday, that'll be a way to get the diehards to go and see Endgame again in Infinity Vision. So I'm not surprised. I'm interested. I'm concerned because like anytime you're doing reshoots and new footage shoot, like what are you doing? How are you making this so, and how are you incorporating it in? And is it going to be? Is it going to make? Is it going to work? Or is it going to be putting Jabba the Hutt back in the original Star Wars? You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Don't you, Tony? Right? I do think it is something that they probably needed to do for this. So, waving at the puppy, Ray, I'll let you go first on this little piece here. Thoughts on what it seems like the Russos and the MCU needs to do to get Doom sort of more incorporated and to make sense in Avengers Doomsday.
So I think it's smart. I mean, re-releases are just an annoyance to me in general, but I get the purposes of them. But most of the time, when the re-releases happen, it is specifically and strategically just for money. And I'm not saying this isn't here, but also it is important to let your audience understand. Forgive the analogy, because I know we try to not talk wrestling on the show, but the WWE Network started, I believe, before WrestleMania 30. But the first show on there was NXT Takeover. So they had to do a test to make sure that things worked the way they wanted it to work. So here it makes sense that they release the biggest movie they've ever done that directly connects to this movie, and they re-release it in the format that they're going to push you to go watch. Because now, if they're going to give me more of a hook to go watch it, and not just because we want to make more money and become the number one movie again, but you're telling me there's some deleted scenes in here. Oh, and on top of that, I get a chance to understand what I'm going to do, or what you want me to do in December. At least there's reasoning here. All I ever want is reasoning, and it could be bad reasoning. I respect reasoning, and so there's reasoning here, and I'm all for it. Will I go watch it? Probably not, but there's reasoning.
Dave, are you going to go check out Endgame and Infinity Vision?
Highly likely. I think I'll go check it out because I do want to see what they have changed with this movie. I've seen Endgame. It's probably, in my opinion, I think I've said this before. It's either that or Dark Knight is my favorite, or I think it's the greatest superhero movie of all time. But I think, to the standpoint of what did they change specifically, can you even identify the changes? Are they going to be just overt, or it's going to be after you see it where you kind of like have to say, okay, well, what exactly did they change? I think it'll be in your face, that sort of thing. I think it'll be real easy to identify. But yeah, I mean, I love the movie so much that I'm willing to go and plunk down whatever it costs to go to see a movie now. I don't go to the movies that often. But I think, yeah, is it just Endgame or is Infinity War being re-released as well? Because
Just Endgame, I think.
Just Endgame.
and I mean, that's interesting because we've talked about it on this show, how those two movies combined are a big 4-hour single movie where it's almost, you can't watch one without the other. But obviously whatever's going on in Endgame is more critical to the Doomsday narrative. So we're going to have to go and see that. So I don't have a problem going and supporting one of my favorite movies of all time.
Is it possible they add something to
Yes.
like something new that like they had no idea they wanted there just because of Doom?
Yes, that's 1000% one of the things that they're doing. Like there's going to be shoots that are going to get added to this. I'm pretty sure.
So what do you speculate on that? Then you guys are much more versed than I am.
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
No. I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
Like does like Iron Man go to the porta potty during the middle of the gigantic battle scene and he actually has to rejuvenate because he's Doom or something? Do you know what I mean?
I actually wonder if it's not going to be more of Steve disrupting timelines, putting stones back.
That's what I think it is.
Doom maybe in the background of some of these other time periods where they've traveled, like I think it's going to be part of the time heist stuff on the back end, where it would make the most sense for Doom to be seen and impacted. And then I do wonder if there's something creditsy, post creditsy. I don't know. But I think those are the things that kind of come to my mind of where you try to find or fit or place Doom in the continuity.
Yeah, I like that. Like Steve, as his mission to return the stone, because we already know there's a major deviation when he stays in the past with Peggy.
Right.
So what else was deviated along the way? Did he do something in the past that triggers this alternate timeline where Doom comes into being? I mean, did he do something that triggered this split between Tony and Victor at some point? I guessing.
We don't know. Is he Victor too? He's a Skrull.
Right. Well, he's a Skrull. No, please, no, God, no, please.
Here's what I'd like to see, and I will acknowledge that I wanted to see it, but
acknowledge, Ray, like. Okay.
A big portion of why I want to see it is because I saw, and I sent it to you this morning, Dave, an AI video that is really, really, really excellently done. It's so cinematic you would think someone made it. And it is the very end of Quantumania with the Council of Kings and Doom
I've
walking
seen that
in and taking them all out. It doesn't have to necessarily be that. But I would like to see some kind of hand the baton off and reasoning why Kang is just bye-bye. And I think that would be a great way for Marvel to kind of give you know what, we may not work together again, but handshake, we appreciate what you did. You got a raw deal, Jonathan Majors, but let's give you this. We can shoot in. We can do this last little 5-10 minutes. Let you work with Downey. We met, bing, bang, boom. I think that could be a cool little thing. And I guarantee you, if there's 4 minutes of that in this re-release, everybody going to go see it.
Maybe. Dave, what do you think?
I like what Ray's saying there. I would like to see, like you acknowledged at the very beginning of this conversation, the pivot. I'd like to see them formally acknowledge the pivot and explain it as well, because I do think, Kang was such a major important character of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's where they were seemingly, now we don't know for sure how far they were going to go with that, but they were seemingly going in that direction. But I think raises a great point. It would be great to see them actually formally acknowledge the transition and why. So I like Ray's point there.
Respect to the time, respect to the time zone in Agamotto, but everything we know about time in the MCU is based off Kang.
Or Loki at this point.
Well, right, but the only reason Loki exists is because he went to the TVA, which was created by who? Kang.
Right.
Yeah, Ray, I would like that piece of, to call it what it is, fantasy booking, for there to be something like that to happen. I don't know where the Russos are going or what they're doing. So, like, again, we'll just have to kind of wait and see how they handle it. The other thing that concerns me with the MCU is based on these cuts that Disney did, and where they laid off over 1,000 employees across their company. But one of the areas of note for this podcast that was really gutted was Marvel and Marvel Studios. And basically, the Marvel Studios visual development team, which went from a group of around 16 staff down to 4, and lost people like Andy Park, who was part of their visual development team since 2010, was there at the start for 16 years, 40 plus films. I'm literally reading his tweet. End of an era. I was there at the start of a team that broke the mold. 16 years, 40 plus films, 15 films as lead director of visual development. Couldn't be prouder of the history they made. His journey continues. My journey continues. So I understand in the wake of a new CEO, or anytime there's leadership change, there's always going to be staffing changes. There's always going to be people who lose their job, people that depart. Here's why this is very interesting and concerning for fans of the MCU, and something I don't think a lot of people maybe have paid as much attention to. That group of 16 that was in charge of visual work for the MCU were the people that created the visual aesthetic and the continuity of the look of the Marvel Cinematic Universe from Iron Man all the way through to the current film. Storyline be damned. The look, the feel, the costuming, they didn't really have to answer to anyone. They were able to push back. They were given the creative freedom to create what we saw on the screen that made the Marvel Cinematic Universe real. And we already know that at some points in time, that group and the visual effects team were really strained. We're looking at you, She-Hulk. And so to take that down from 16 to 4 makes me really concerned about the vision and the look of the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward and how that's going to be. And as an MCU fan, I'm nervous for the first time in a long time to how it's going to go at the MCU, because this isn't about like billionaires and making money, and that it's, people losing jobs is the worst. But as just a straight up fan of these films and these shows and these series, this is a huge loss for the MCU. And hopefully this leads to, there's a good plan in place. But as one of my favorite follows, Scott Gustin, put it, you threw out a lot when you cut those people. So, and other people lost their job out of Disney, but reactions to this and what this could mean for the MCU. Dave, I'm going to start with you. You're a lawyer. Go.
I don't know if there's a lot of legalistic stuff about it, but
no, not at all.
I mean, it sucks, that's for sure. And Disney, like you said, they're not the only ones to lose their job. 1,000 people got laid off, that sort of thing. Specifically for this is the visual department we're talking about, right?
Right, and specifically like the visual design.
Right.
So like designing the worlds that then the visual effects team makes.
Right, and this is one of the stories that we didn't get to last week. Thank you, WrestleMania. But it was, I think that one of the big things to think about is this is where the impact of AI becomes really in your face, because you can look at this and say that a lot of these jobs that are being stripped down here you've got to figure they're going to be, because these positions aren't going away. It's not like Disney's volume and the need for these VFX and visual effects, that sort of thing. That's not going down. Marvel's not stopping at Doomsday and that sort of thing. That's supposed to continue on. And you start to wonder, are these, people who are going to be replaced by AI? And, we talk about the whole issue that happened with Disney pulling out of the deal with ChatGPT because ChatGPT scaled back Sora. That may be what we hear on the surface, but nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes and whether they've developed some sort of engine that they can use that is capable of replicating or even exceeding what these guys were doing. And Disney's like, we're going to save a buck here. Now, I have no proof of that. It would suck if that's the case, but I certainly think that is something worth considering at this point, that may be part of the problem here. But to your point, it sucks. Yeah, when that many people lose their jobs to a division that really, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because it's not a division where they're just like getting paid for doing nothing. We've talked about it so many times. These guys are overworked and worked into the ground in the past. And so for that whole thing to just blow up like that, you got to look at it and say, something doesn't feel right about this, and it could very well be AI related.
Let me transition it over to Ray, because I'm just going to be real brief, because Dave touched on what I want to touch on, AI. It's not going to eliminate everybody. You're going to have to keep a few people around to continue the progression, but they have enough history built up where the AI, Ray, could take over and mimic that along with a smaller group of people.
Yeah, the biggest misnomer in tech is that AI is going to replace people, but you have to have somebody prompting the AI. You have to have somebody monitoring and talking to the AI. We are not at the point where everything, artificial intelligence is the word, but it's not automatic. It's not thinking and working on its own in many regards yet.
It's not generative yet.
Yeah, no, not well, at least not for consumption.
Right.
So somebody's gonna have to prompt it, somebody's gonna take care of it, somebody's gonna have to tell it what to do. Now that's a great point, that that's probably why a lot of this happened, because graphics are so much easier to make now if you know how to use AI correctly, especially if you have the right types of AI and the right models. Even I'm working right now for the month of May. The historical theme for the month of May on the Chair Shot is Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage, and I'm working on photo journals. And what I'm able to do with just regular open AI art is like you think I'm fucking Picasso.
Well, look at your Battle Royal Madness. All the stuff you did there was tremendous.
For sure. And thank you. I appreciate that. And all through the same program, and the model's higher, right? But the other thing about it is, and the only thing that really matters in this conversation, and Patrick started with this, in our world, in the world that we, there's four of us on this show, kind of frequent, between sports, Tony, entertainment, and sports entertainment. It's been a rough week. It's been a lot of cuts and a lot of releases and a lot of things of that nature. So adding with that, for the bottom line and the profit margins for shareholders and stockholders, the business mind in me gets it. I do, because you can't do the things you want if you're not profitable for the people that own your company. And profitable doesn't mean you're making money. It just means I get a dividend every quarter. But yeah, man, it's always hard to hear people lose their jobs for something that they didn't do anything wrong with.
And for me, it's in terms of the actual creativity and the generation of the look and aesthetic itself. Yeah. Like it's not the tool that they're using to make it happen. It's
the mind behind it.
It's the 14 minds that were part of that creative team that, and I'm glad you guys brought up AI, because Josh tomorrow has made it no secret that he is very much interested in embracing AI as a tool and a technology to use. And that in and of itself, I don't have a problem with or have an issue with. I wonder, we'll see the results. I don't know. We're not going to see it for Endgame. Or Doomsday. I would assume that's been done. I think it's beyond doomsday, and so we won't actually see whether this team was the loss that I'm worried it might be until a few movies from now. But we'll see. All right, fellas. We're gonna do something different to wrap up this week's show. Instead of doing what you're watching like we've done before, I'm gonna ask you to put your nostalgia brains on or your thinking brains on. I sent you guys a thing to think about in the Bandwagon Nerds chat. No, text thread. We got too many ways to talk. And I want to give you.
So add another one. Add Discord.
Maybe I will. I'll think about it. I'll consider it. But basically, I realized something as I was watching Daredevil this week, and that is that I never skip the intro to Daredevil. I love watching that intro and that opening credits. And I also loved watching the OG, the Netflix Daredevil intro as well. And so it got me to thinking about what shows, be it currently or from our youth, had intros that were banger enough that you would be okay not skipping it if you weren't streaming. So I understand that we tend to do this a lot. But for example, I've talked about my journey on Tubi lately. I never skip the opening credits and music to G.I. Joe. Like ever. From Flint pointing and yelling "Yo Joe" in Duke's voice, which is always something that bugs the crap out of me, is it's Duke's voice, but it's Flint yelling "Yo Joe." And that whole theme song and all that and the battle going on the whole time. Love it. Never skipping. Never, ever, ever skip it. Ever. I refuse. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is one that I never skipped the
Great
intro
song.
to. Go ahead, Ray.
For the Game of Thrones song, have you ever seen the thing that those guys did with Fender for guitar?
Yeah, where they all got together in a room and did the orchestral thing
like
for it.
Tom Morello and Brad Paisley.
Yeah, amazing. The visual to go along with it, the living, breathing map puzzle that was that. Like, PC Tony would literally, when he was watching that on HBO Live Sunday nights when it was coming out, at the end of it would be like, Game of Thrones, and then we would watch the episode.
So Tony liked Game of Thrones, not skippable. Dave, what about you?
Yeah,
or Ray, go ahead.
No. Go to Dave.
For me, it's easy, and I go back to my childhood. It is the opening to the $6 Million Man. It's as iconic as anything. Just the whole, the whole thing. The whole where you get to see the crash, and Steve Austin, a man barely alive. We can rebuild him. I mean, everybody knows that. It's as iconic as anything, and it's like from the early 70s. So, I mean, that's the one that always stands out to me is the one that I always go back to. Just the drums beating in the background as the whole thing starts to unfold. That's the one that really stands out for me as far as like intros that I would never skip through.
I want to shout out 90s sitcoms, especially the black ones. I want Fresh Prince, Martin, A Different World, all those shows. It's fantastic. Shout out the cartoons of the 90s like Darkwing Duck and DuckTales. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to say one that none of you would think I would ever say.
Flash
Somebody save me. That's my shit, bro. That's my shit. I don't even watch that show like that, but when it come on, I stop.
Why don't you tell the kids at home, just in case nobody knows
what the show is or what the song is?
The show and the song.
Smallville.
I never watched Smallville.
Oh, really good.
Smallville. So I didn't watch a lot of it.
It's the only super version of Superman Ray likes.
I was about to say Ray's favorite character.
Great Lex Luthor, one of the great Lex Luthors, by the way, underrated Lex Luthor.
Just a little. This may be a random summer draft where we just draft show intros and do it by decades. Because I was just thinking, remember 80s sitcom? You brought up 90s comedies, but there were a couple of different sort of style of sitcom intros that you would get in the 80s and 90s. There'd be the one where, and they make parodies of this all the time with AI videos, where like they'll show a character doing something else before they look at the camera and smile.
Oh yeah,
They're like,
the Family Matters
you
style.
found me.
The Family
Yeah,
Matters style.
but then the other one is what I call the Perfect Strangers, where it's just snippets.
Call son, don't be ridiculous.
But it's like just snippets of like mishaps going on all the time.
Yeah.
You know, Balky and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Larry, cousin
Larry riding the double bike and crashing and like shit like that. So like,
speaking of 80s, shout out to Growing Pains. As long as we've got each other.
Dude, 80s sitcom tunes, man. So there was like Cheers. Fucking everybody loves Cheers, man.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I steal your thunder
You're
there,
good.
bro?
You guys finish. I got a whole list for you.
I'm sure you do.
Shout out
and
to
they're
the Incredible Hulk series. Remember that one? I mean, that's the beginning.
The Incredible Hulk, though, it was about the outro. It wasn't about the opening credits. It was about David Banner walking quietly down a road while the
lonely man,
played
the lonely
in the background.
Man,
the lonely man piano. That was the shit. Go ahead, Tony. Rattle off your faves, man. Let's wrap up the show with some faves.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got.
Yep.
How about it's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. The love and tradition of the grand design. Some people say it's even harder to find. Oops, did I do that? That was Urkel, by the way. How about ample parking day or night? People shouting "Howdy, neighbor." The live version of Stone and Parker on stage with Les Claypool doing that is amazing. Come and knock on my door. We've been waiting for you. Where the kisses are hers and his. And how about
love, exciting and new?
This?
Come aboard.
This is for you guys. Thank you for being a friend. Traveled around the world and back again. Your heart is true. You guys are pals and you're confidants.
Go
back.
It's a party.
Yeah, go back to the 70s with Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, that kind of stuff.
Son.
My last one, because my childhood on a Saturday morning was never complete until I heard, when I wake up in the morning and my alarm gives out a warning.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. It's all right. I don't think I'm going to make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a look, around the corner,
I'm at the corner just in time. Yes.
It's all right because I'm saved by the bell.
Yes, we are.
All right, folks. And on that note, pun intended. I think that's going to do it for this week's edition of Bandwagon Nerds. Before we get out of here, fellas, tell everybody where they can find you on the Chair Shot Radio Network or on the socials. If you are so inclined, this week we will start with one working brother, Ray Cash.
Oh boy! All right, I'm everywhere, dog. So it's Ray Cash and on the socials, Chair Shot Media everywhere, literally. New website is here, beta. It'll be live. Stop it. The new photo shoot with me and Coco coming out soon. We hitting all the magazines. It's happening. But yeah, we got big stuff as young Clifford Harris, aka T.I. would say, big shit popping, little shit stopping. You already know what it is. Lots of new stuff coming. We're at the end of April, May, even bigger. Keep watching.
I'm really sad that Sunday is May 3rd.
Oh, because May.
But the show posts on radio wise, it comes out May the 4th.
But now we live stream, so now it's like I don't know, guys.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's do it Monday. Okay. Let's record Monday.
No.
Oh, so we're just gonna take off work? That's what we're gonna do?
No.
Sure.
It's okay.
It's easy for the lawyer to
It'll
say.
be okay.
No, this isn't Nom. There are rules. Smokey.
Wow.
Okay.
Smokey, you're over the line. Dave, go ahead.
Well, because of this great new trick that Tony taught me, I'm just going to let the banner tell you where to go to check me out at www.attitudeofaggression.com. Thank you, Tony, for teaching me this. You are I appreciate that very much.
Worst thing we ever did.
Beyond that, yeah, go to the YouTube channel, the Attitude of Regression's YouTube channel, and I guess, yeah, go on and check out the Attitude of Regression's Facebook page, where it looks like we can live stream to there now. So lots of fun stuff happening.
Mr. Tunney.
Hi. The commissioner at PC Tunney. Hey, Coco. Shout out to Ghost.
Coco.
Hawk sleeping.
And you can
At
follow me
Chairshot
on
Media. Sorry, at Chairshot Media. Very important. Sorry, Patrick. I
On
apologize.
everything.
And you can follow me on the socials at Wrestling Realist. That is at WRESTLNGREALIST. You can catch me every Monday, Tuesday, and most Wednesdays here on the Chairshot Radio Network. Monday talking nerdy stuff with these guys. Tuesdays talking sports with David Ungar. Wednesdays talking wrestling with Craig DeMarco when we feel like it. That's going to do it, though, for this week's edition of Bandwagon Nerds. So get yourself out of the basement. Get some sun. Check out some old sitcom theme songs. Enjoy the day with some joyful music. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chair.